Hey there, everybody. My name is Curtis Claim. I'm the attorney here at Claim Law. I wanted to put up a quick little video on what I advise people about whether or not they should use an attorney to get a divorce. If they reach an agreement, if they can reach an agreement with their spouse, should they still get an attorney to help them through that process? And I realize that the cost of an attorney can be expensive, and sometimes that's a barrier to folks. But I believe there are some circumstances when it is advisable, when it is very much the best thing to do to get an attorney, because sometimes there's just too much at stake to not get one, even if y'all have an agreement. So let's talk about two main situations when I want you to consult with an attorney and hire an attorney to help you with the divorce. The first one is if you have minor children. If you have a minor child with your spouse, I really feel like it is best and it is very important that you get an attorney. And there's really two main reasons. The first one has to do with the parenting plan that every divorce has to have when there's children involved. There's a parenting plan that has to be prepared, has to be presented to the judge, and the judge has to sign off on it. That parenting plan is going to do a lot of different things. It has a lot of moving parts in it. And the thing about the parenting plan is that it can be customized in many different ways. And there are some good best practices, best things that should be in there, ways it should be customized to your particular situation. If you hire an attorney that does these, I've done literally hundreds of these over the years. And every single one of those parenting plans are different. So I can help you customize that parenting plan, and I can prepare it in such a way that it meets your particular situation. So that's best for you, it's best for your spouse, but most importantly, it's best for your children. It's a way to limit conflict down the road. It's a way to limit understanding or misunderstandings so that your child has as much peace, as much tranquility, as much certainty moving forward as part of the divorce. Okay, so that's the first real reason as part of a divorce with children you would want to get an attorney. Now there's a second one, and this is even more difficult, maybe even more immediately important, and that's child support. The Georgia child support statute is very complicated. It's very convoluted. When they implemented it back in 2008, us attorneys had to go on live trainings for hours to figure it out, okay? There's very specific requirements in terms of documents that need to be prepared, language that needs to be put into the final judgment decree of divorce. It's just a tough thing to do, and it's a tough thing for people to figure out by themselves. And so if there's children, I do recommend strongly that you hire an attorney to help you through that process. Now, the other circumstance is if there's jointly owned property or joint debt. So this is another second big scenario by which I really think that it's advisable to have an attorney. Now, the equitable division during a divorce is a very important part of divorce, and it can be kind of complicated. There's a lot of ins and outs to it. The first thing that has to be determined is property that y'all now own as a couple or that y'all now own individually. Is it marital property? Is it marital property that's even subject to an equitable division? Some of the property that has been acquired during the marriage is, and some of it isn't. The vast majority is going to be marital property, but there's going to be some property that was acquired during the marriage that's not marital property. Then you need to determine how do you go about dividing it. And really the important thing is when y'all have jointly owned assets like joint bank accounts, jointly owned vehicles where both your names on the vehicle, or both your names on a home, it can be very complicated. There's a lot of different ways to handle that situation, and you really do need to hire an attorney that has experience with that to help you navigate through that. The second part of that, kind of the flip or the reverse, is joint debt. So if you have a car that y'all purchased and y'all both signed on that car, that's a complicated circumstance to get through and to figure out. Obviously, mortgages are most often joint. And here again, it's a very complicated process to navigate that. When I'm doing this for my clients, my goal really is so that when the divorce is over, they really are divorced. All the entanglements are pulled apart. So they don't have joint debt. They don't have joint assets, their bank accounts, their credit cards, their tax debt. All of that is taken care of so that there's certainty going forward. You don't have to worry about these issues and about what it means. You know exactly what the rules are, and you can successfully move apart and separate and divorce. So those are two very common circumstances when I think it's best to have an attorney. I realize that's probably the vast majority of divorces. I think the vast majority of divorces do call for an attorney. I think that's just the better way to go. These issues, these factors are too important to not get an attorney to help you navigate them. It doesn't have to be terribly expensive, but it is important, and I would encourage you to at the very least consult with an attorney about those issues. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.